Hello everyone, today is 15th of March, now it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon Moscow time. I'm Levan Gudadze and this is my first update for a day in which I will share all the main news that are making headlines in Russian media outlets and Russian language pages on different internet platforms. And there are quite a few very significant developments and news that I'd like to share with you, and I will start of course with the main news for today in Russia, which is presidential elections, of course, first day of the presidential elections that will last for 3 days, today, tomorrow and day after, and will end on 17th of March. We have some numbers, some interesting numbers for this moment, which is that, for example, according to TASS news agency, little more over 23% of the voters cast their vote for 4 o'clock this afternoon, which is quite a good number. Activity is quite big, especially if you take into account that elections will last 3 days. And well, despite the expectations of some experts that Western secret services with IT companies, Western IT companies or hacker groups may target Russian distance voting system, we have information that, for example, just in Moscow, more than 2 million residents decided to vote by using this distance voting method, by internet basically, and system is operating normally. So at least for now, no issues there. Unfortunately, in several areas there were some problems. For example, RIA Novosti reported that Ukrainian armed forces shelled, how you say it, polling stations, yes, shelled polling stations in Kherson region. Several buildings where these polling stations were located, and as a result of these strikes, several civilians were wounded. Of course, all of them are receiving now all the necessary all the necessary medical attention. And also there were some instances when some the so-called liberals, they called themselves liberals, were conducting some strange activities and in some cases dangerous activities to protest. And in this case, for example, you can see on this video, female went to this police station and then pour some liquid into ballot box, destroying ballots that were cast by her fellow citizens. And she will proudly call herself liberal, and someone that is for democracy, when she is basically destroying ballots of her fellow citizens that were voting and participating directly in political life of the country. Strange, very strange. There were several instances when this kind of action was taken by these so-called liberals that are under heavy influence of their Western propaganda. And unfortunately, I saw also video when one female was throwing Molotov cocktail towards polling station. And that, of course, extremely dangerous. I mean, if this incident with this liquid being poured into ballot box can be seen as some minor offender, she will probably receive fine and that's it. When it comes to throwing Molotov cocktails, that's a whole different story. I mean, she was unable to break that. When she threw that Molotov cocktail, bottle didn't broke, and therefore there was no fire in the building and no one was harmed. But potentially she could even kill innocent civilians, so she will most likely be charged with some criminal charges, because I mean that is not a protest, that is a crime. So in general election day is going quite okay. Because of the vastness of Russia, on the Far East regions, of course, election day, first election day is already ended. And in the European part of the Russia, here in Moscow region, for example, elections will continue for several more hours. And of course, last police stations will be closed in most western region of Russia, in Kaliningrad region. And as I said, the elections will last 3 days, today, tomorrow, and day after. There is not really any secret who will receive majority of votes. Of course, current president Vladimir Putin will receive majority of votes. No one even questioning this. But still, people are actively participating in elections, in political life of the country, which is great. Hopefully, despite the attempts of Kyiv regime and some other anti-Russian forces, namely Western ruling class, to destabilize situation in Russia, hopefully they will fail, and elections will continue normally. Okay, that's been said. Let's continue with some other news now. Although before I do so, let me note that this small media project of mine is, of course, entirely subscriber funded, and I will be immensely grateful if you will also consider to join our members of our community who supports my work with donations. And if you have such a desire to support my work, you can do it with small donations through PayPal, by Boosty, this platform here, which is a alternative, let's say, for me personally to Buy Me a Coffee, because as you know, I was cancelled on Buy Me a Coffee just recently. So yes, I mean, you can use for single donation, or you can even subscribe here on Boosty. And of course, you can subscribe to my Patreon page, on which I'm on regular basis uploading extra content, and basically from Monday to Thursday I have second news updates on the Patreon, and some more content, of course. So yes, all the links in the description box and in the pinned comment. That's been said, let's continue with some news. And next is RT's report about this latest attempt of Kyiv regime to destabilize situation in Belgorod region of Russian Federation. Yesterday, in headlines and in second update on my Patreon, I spoke about this attempt that Kyiv regime conducted with helicopters, because they were unable to cross border successfully on the ground by using huge number of military personnel and military vehicles. Yesterday, Kyiv regime changed its tactics. They launched, according to some reports, 2 helicopters, according to other reports, 3 helicopters, to land the military personnel in area of the village of, let me give you name of that village, Kozinka. This is the area, by the way, not far away from a border. And well, this landing group of Ukrainian saboteurs went towards Kozinka settlement, but then they were spotted, and the Russian side opened fire. And basically, when this Ukrainian group was retreating, they end up on the minefields and were destroyed. And also, Kyiv regime sent some additional reinforcement to support these saboteurs, and that another group also was destroyed. And overall, just in Kozinka direction, Kyiv regime lost about 50 military personnel. Also, Kyiv regime was conducting attempts to cross border in some other areas also. And for example, in close vicinity from Spodorushin settlement, quite a strange incident took place. For example, and dear friends, this is my Telegram channel, and I will say for new members of our community, if you can, please consider to subscribe to my Telegram channel. It might be quite useful addition, because I'm on, updating Telegram channel regularly with the news. Oh, this is quite funny video. Some cartoon characters are welcoming people next to polling stations. This is of course Chiburashka, one of the most popular cartoon characters in Russia, and I believe in former Soviet Union, and nowadays even worldwide, because Chiburashka become quite famous in this world. And well, this is the video that I wanted to share with you. On this video you can see one single soldier of Russian here approaching this trench where a bunch of Ukrainian soldiers are hiding. And I don't know, man, this Russian soldier must be like Terminator, I don't know, man. He threw a grenade into this trench and safely managed to retreat and rejoin its main group. But I mean, quite strange video, really. I mean, what he was thinking approaching this many enemy soldiers, I don't know. But well, he was very lucky to get away alive. He will have some story to tell, isn't it? So yes, overall, by the way, during the last 3 days of attempts to cross border with Russia and conduct some sabotage activity, Ukrainian forces, according to Russian Defense Ministry, lost about 1,500 military personnel killed and wounded, and excuse me, over 24 of different types of military vehicles, equipment including tanks, armored personal carriers, infantry fighting vehicles, pickup trucks, artillery systems, and so on. It was total failure, of course, on part of Kyiv regime and main intelligence directorate of Ukraine's Defense Ministry, which is led by this Kirill Budanov, terrorist and mass murderer. And after this failure, maybe Kirill Budanov will be replaced, because this was not just a failure in military terms, but this was a media failure also for Kyiv regime. They were expecting very different outcome, of course, and they failed in every sense miserably. And well, let's see if Zelensky will replace Budanov from his position. But anyway, let's continue with some other news. Head of, according to Lenta.ru, head of Ukraine's foreign ministry, Kuleba, spoke with by phone with the NATO head of NATO Jens Stoltenberg, and according to reports from NATO press service and foreign ministry's press service in Ukraine, Kuleba was demanding, not asking, but demanding increase military aid from Stoltenberg, more shells, more weapons, more everything, which is well, quite interesting, isn't it, that these clients, these puppets of the Western ruling class, now are demanding from very same West. Unbelievable. They will be put in place quite shortly, of course, but at least for now it seems like they are quite bold and allowing themselves to be disrespectful towards anybody in the West. TASS news agencies report that European Commission allocated 500 million euros to increase shell production in Europe, and according to this information, European Commission is hoping that towards the end of 2025, shell production in or munition production in Europe will reach 2 million shells a year. Quite ambitious goal. Let's see if they will manage to do so. TASS news agencies report that Sweden will join Czech Republic in attempts of Prague to buy 300,000 shells for Kyiv regime. That was announced a few days ago, and Sweden will allocate 30 million euros for this purpose. RT's report that according to former head of British MI6 intelligence service, United Kingdom is at war with Russia. He is calling it a grey war. Let's go through some sentences here. Britain is engaged in a grey war with Russia, but neither the authorities nor the public are taking their situation seriously enough. The former head of the MI6, Richard Derlov, has warned UK military is not getting enough money to be able to counter the threats posed by Moscow and Beijing. Richard Derlov, who led the British Secret Intelligence Service between 1999 and 2004, said in an interview with the Politico on Friday. The statement followed last week's announcement of the UK's budget for the next financial year, in which there was no increase in defense spending. It remains at 2% of the country's GDP. If you stopped anyone in the street here in UK and asked them whether they thought Britain is at war, they'd look at you as if you were mad. But we are at war, we are engaged in a grey war with Russia, and I am trying to remind people of that. The former spy chief said, well, this warmonger, who is basically acknowledging that UK is in war and involved in this confrontation with Russia, maybe this warmonger and criminal should think about why citizens of UK will look at him as if he is mad on the question, is UK is involved in war? Maybe because citizens of UK has enough problems on their own and they don't want any additional issues, especially when it comes to their security, and they don't want UK to be involved in this war. Maybe that's the answer. But these warmongers never gonna get it, by the way. They will continue to scaremonger. They're gonna use any tactics, by the way, of propaganda and other means to basically scare people as much as possible, and then allocate more and more funds towards the military-industrial complex, because ultimately that's for whom they really are working, for military-industrial complex and these multinational corporations. That's it, man. This is true in Europe, and this is true in case of US, and everybody knows this. TASS news agencies report that Houthi rebels made a statement that they conducted strike against Israeli ship Pacific 01 and also against US military warship. Movement did not share information about effectiveness of their targeting operation, strike operation, but information itself that yet another commercial vessel was targeted, this Pacific 01, is enough to further destabilize situation in the region and force major shipping companies to divert their ships from this region. So they don't really need to hit directly these warships, as long as they are opening fire and demonstrating that these shipping routes are not safe. That's enough for major shipping companies to divert their vessels. Also, RT is reporting that US is issuing threats to Hungary. In this particular case, you might be surprised, but US Ambassador David Prisman claimed on Tuesday that Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban is isolating his country from the Western community of democracies. And he was quite hawkish towards current government of Hungary and critical, not surprisingly, by the way, especially because leadership of Hungary is basically openly supporting Trump. And of course, Democrats and administration of Biden is crazy about it. But what they gonna do, man? What they gonna do? I don't think they will anyway manage to influence. I mean, if they want to, of course, they can influence policies of Hungary, but I don't think Washington will dare to destroy relationships with this EU and NATO member states just because they don't like policies of the Orban, Prime Minister of Hungary, or CR, the Foreign Minister of Hungary. Anyway, let's continue. TASS news agency is reporting that Finnish Ministry of Internal Affairs come up with a draft bill for Finnish Parliament which will allow Finland to reopen border with Russia, reopen checkpoints on the border with Russia, and according to this draft, no one will be able to apply for asylum on a border with Finland or in close vicinity from a Finnish border. And I guess this way Finnish government wants to resolve this issue of citizens of third countries entering Finland through Russia for to apply for asylum, or by to use Finland also as a transit state to enter other countries of Europe. Because of this migration issue, several months ago, Finnish government made decision to shut down all checkpoints on Russian border, which is harming, by the way, of course, not just Russian local businesses and locals that were quite often traveling to Finland, but also Finnish citizens that quite often were traveling to Russia, because some goods are cheap in Russia, some goods are cheap in Finland, and local residents that are living in close proximity from a border were quite often traveling one to another country to buy some goods, man, which is normal stuff in my opinion. And now these people are suffering, people that have nothing to do with this migration crisis that Finnish government is fears of. Excuse me. And finally, RT is reporting that Moscow explains why expanded BRICS will keep its name. The BRICS economic group will keep its current name despite the bloc's expansion. A top Russian diplomat has said BRICS is a recognizable brand and trademark, according to Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Ryabkov, who is also Russia's Sherpa in the group. One thing has to be made clear: the leaders of the Johannesburg agreed. Leaders in Johannesburg during previous meeting of the BRICS leaders agreed that despite the expansion which took place on January 1st, the new larger group will keep its name BRICS, period. No BRICS plus, but BRICS. It's a brand, it's a well-known trademark, and it's going to stay that way. Rybkov replied when asked by journalists in Moscow whether BRICS Plus could become the name for the expanded bloc. So yes, BRICS will remain BRICS. It's associated now with not just with Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa, but BRICS, this name is associated with multipolar world, with the emerging new world, and therefore really, I mean, why name should be changed? If new members will demand, well, probably topic will be discussed between the members, but argumentation of Ryabkov is quite understandable. BRICS is a brand on its own now, and associated with multipolarity, which is main goal for main stage of development of human civilization, I believe, multipolar world. Anyway, quite short update, and hopefully you will find it somewhat informative and interesting, and if so, please click that like button and leave some commentary just about anything, and if you can, please share links to my videos or my channels on any of the other platforms that you are actively using. Maybe we will manage to successfully influence algorithms again, and who knows, maybe this video will also reach a wider audience, like yesterday's headlines episode did. Anyway, thank you very much for your attention. Have a great day and take care. And dear friends, let me remind you that this evening 9 o'clock, if there will be no technical issues, this evening 9 o'clock I will have a live stream on my Rumble channel, and of course I will share during the live all the additional information that will be reported by media. This is it for now. Have a great day and take care. Bye.